Before we go into this, I want to acknowledge everyone who keeps showing up in this space with their real questions and their real hearts. The trust that represents is something I hold carefully. Every comment, every share, every moment someone sends this to a person they care about because something in them knew that person needed it, I feel all of it. To those arriving here for the first time today, I want to tell you something directly. You did not find this reading by accident. Something in you already knew you needed to hear what I am about to say. The only question is whether you are going to let it land. Now let us go, because this cannot wait. Virgo, I need to tell you something. Not in the careful, cushioned, let me build up to it way that people deliver uncomfortable truths when they are more worried about how the delivery lands than about whether the truth reaches you directly. There is a person in your life or entering your life right now who is carrying something they have not told you, something significant, something that directly affects you and your well being and your safety in the broadest sense of that word. And their silence about it is not accidental, it is not an oversight, it is not the product of poor timing or the right moment not having arrived yet. It is a choice, a deliberate, ongoing, daily, renewed choice to let you operate without information you have every right to have. And I need you to hear this clearly before anything else. That choice is not about you. It is not because you are not worth telling. It is not because they do not care enough or do not take you seriously or have made some assessment of your capacity to handle the truth that found you lacking. It is about them, about something in them that cannot yet bear the specific consequence of honesty. That has calculated, consciously or not, that your continued presence in their life without the full picture is preferable to whatever happens when the full picture is offered. They are choosing their comfort over your safety. And that choice, whatever else is true about this person, whatever genuine feeling may exist between you, whatever history or warmth or real connection might be part of what makes this complicated, that choice is not acceptable. Let me speak to what I feel in the energy around this person, because this reading is not general, it is specific. And specificity is what makes the difference between a warning that lands and a warning that gets filed under. Maybe it does not apply to me. There is concealment in this person's field. Not the ordinary, everyone has things they have not yet shared kind of concealment that is simply the natural state of a connection that is still developing. This is different in quality, heavier, more deliberate, the specific energetic texture of something that is being actively kept rather than simply not yet offered. Something is being managed around you. The way they present themselves in your presence has a quality of curation that goes beyond the ordinary self-consciousness of someone who wants to make a good impression. There is something they are not letting you see, something they move away from when the conversation gets close to it, something that produces in them when the territory near it is approached, a subtle but perceptible shift in their energy, a slight increase in the effort of their composure, a moment where something tightens behind their eyes before they redirect the exchange towards safer ground. You may have felt this without being able to name it. That feeling has a name now. It is your perception working correctly. I want to bring the cards in now because what they are showing is precise and I do not want to hold it back. The first card that came through is the Seven of Swords. And I want to be very clear about what this card is saying in this specific position for this specific reading. The Seven of Swords is not simply the card of deception in the abstract. It is the card of strategic omission, of someone who has decided that what you do not know cannot hurt them, who is moving through a shared dynamic carrying information that alters the entire nature of what is being shared, and who has made a calculation that the carrying of it privately is preferable to the transparency that would change everything. This card does not appear lightly. When it shows up in this position with this kind of clarity, it is not suggesting that someone might be less than fully forthcoming. It is pointing directly at a deliberate and sustained withholding of something material, something that, if you knew it, the dynamic between you would look entirely different than it currently does. And the specific quality of the withholding that I feel in this card for your situation has the texture of something that has been held for a while. This is not a new secret. This is something that existed before you entered the picture, that was already in place when whatever is forming between you began to form, that has been sitting in this person's possession, carefully managed throughout the entire duration of what you have been experiencing together. You have been making choices without full information. Every interaction, every moment of openness, every decision to allow this person closer, all of it made without knowing what they know. That is what the Seven of Swords is telling me. And that is what I am telling you. The second card is the Moon. And the Moon here is specifically about you, not about them. The Moon is the card of knowing without being able to prove, of the perception that operates below the level of conscious thought and registers things the analytical mind has not yet caught up with, of the specific, slightly uncomfortable, impossible to fully dismiss feeling that something is not quite what it appears to be. You have felt this, not dramatically, not in a way that produced a clear alarm you could act on in the quieter way. The way something surfaces in an unguarded moment and then gets filed away because you could not point to anything specific enough to justify taking it seriously. The way a hesitation appears in you sometimes around this person that you then explain away because everything they have shown you seems fine, and you do not want to be the kind of person who creates problems where none exist. But the hesitation was not you creating a problem. The hesitation was your nervous system doing exactly what it is designed to do, registering something real, processing information that arrived through channels other than explicit communication, through the micro inconsistencies between what someone says and how their body moves when they say it, through the slight off note in an otherwise convincing performance, through the specific, particular, unmistakable quality of being in the presence of someone who is managing what you know about them. Your body has been collecting this data, and it has been trying to tell you something. This reading is simply giving that something a voice loud enough to hear. The third card is the Two of Swords, and this card broke my heart a little when it came through for you, because the Two of Swords is the card of the deliberate blindfold, of someone who has placed something over their own eyes, not because they cannot see, but because seeing requires them to do something with what they see, and they are not yet ready to do that. Virgo. This card is about you, and I am not saying this to be unkind. I am saying it because it is true and because you deserve the truth of it rather than the comfortable version that lets you remain where you are. Some part of you already knows. Not everything. You do not have the full picture that is real and that is their doing and that is on them in every way that matters. But you have pieces, impressions, moments that did not quite add up, things that were said that contained small internal inconsistencies you registered and then deliberately chose not to examine. The Two of Swords says you have been choosing not to look. Again, not as a character flaw, as an entirely understandable response to the specific situation of having developed genuine feeling for someone and not wanting what you feel to be complicated by what you sense, of having allowed something to matter and therefore needing it to be safe to matter. But the blindfold has to come off, not because looking is going to be comfortable. It is not going to be comfortable because you deserve to see clearly. Because every choice you make from this point forward deserves to be made with your eyes open. Because you are someone who, when they have the full picture, makes excellent decisions, and you have been operating without the full picture. That ends now. Does something in you already know what this reading is pointing at? Is there something specific that surfaced in you when you read the title? A name, a face, a situation that has been sitting in the back of your awareness with a quality that you have been working to ignore? Do not ignore it today. Let me know in the comments if this is landing somewhere specific for you. You do not need to share details. A word is enough, because I think many of you came to this reading today already carrying the answer to the question this reading is asking. You just needed someone to make it safe enough to let yourself know what you already know. This is that permission. Let me speak now to the specific nature of what is being hidden, because I feel it clearly enough to describe it, and you deserve the description, even though the description is not easy. What this person is carrying is something they have made a private determination you would leave over. That is the key to understanding why they have not told you. It is not that they intend to tell you eventually when the timing is right. It is not that they are still figuring out how to frame it or building the courage for a conversation they intend to have. The silence is not a delay. It is a strategy built on the assessment that if you know the full truth of what they are carrying, the dynamic between you changes in a way they do not want it to change. That your response to the information would alter what is available to them. That the version of this connection that exists when you do not know is preferable from their position to the version that would exist when you do. So they have chosen the version where you do not know on your behalf without asking you, without giving you the option to decide for yourself what you would do with the information, without extending to you the basic dignity of informed choice. And the intimacy they are pursuing, the closeness they are moving toward, the specific vulnerability that physical intimacy represents. They are pursuing it in the shadow of this concealment, which means the intimacy they are offering is not actually honest intimacy. It is intimacy with terms and conditions you were never shown. I want to speak to something now that goes beyond the specific warning of this reading and touches something larger that I think Virgo needs to hear. This is not the first time your intuition has tried to protect you. And it is not the first time you have found reasons to override it. There is a pattern here that is worth looking at, not with judgment, not with the specific self criticism that Virgo is capable of deploying against itself with devastating efficiency, but with the clear, honest, genuinely curious attention of someone who wants to understand something important about themselves. Why does the override happen? What is the specific mechanism that takes a genuine perception, a real and accurate reading of a person or a situation, and files it under doubt before it can become action? Because for most Virgos, it is not naivety. You are not naive. The perception is accurate. The filing is the issue, and the filing happens for a reason. Sometimes it happens because the alternative to filing is a loss you are not ready for. Because acting on what you know means acknowledging that something you wanted to be real is not real in the way you wanted it to be. And that acknowledgement has a cost, a real one. That arrives in the body before it arrives in the mind, in the specific pre-verbal, pre-analytical sensation of something valuable being lost. And to avoid that sensation, even temporarily, even knowing on some level that the avoidance only delays and amplifies what is coming, the knowing gets filed under, maybe I am reading too much into this, under I should not assume the worst, under let me give this more time before I decide what it means. And time passes, and the knowing gets filed again and again until the accumulated weight of what has been filed becomes impossible to carry, and something breaks through anyway. Something is breaking through today. Let it. Let me speak to what you actually deserve in this space, the intimate space, the space of genuine physical and emotional closeness between two people who have chosen each other with full information and full presence. You deserve honesty as a foundation, not honesty as an aspiration or a value someone claims to hold. Honesty as the actual lived, daily, unglamorous practice of someone who tells you the truth about who they are and what they carry, even when the truth is complicated, even when the truth might change things, even when the honest version of themselves is harder to love than the curated version. You deserve someone who trusts you with the real thing. Not because you need to know everything about a person immediately or because complexity disqualifies someone from being worthy of you, but because the decision to be close to someone, to be genuinely vulnerable with them, to let them into the specific territory that physical intimacy represents, that decision deserves to be made with real information. And someone who withholds real information while pursuing real intimacy is not giving you the chance to make that decision. They are making it for you without your knowledge, without your consent, and that is not how you deserve to be treated. Not by anyone, not ever. I want to give you something concrete now, because this reading has delivered a warning, and a warning without direction is only half a reading. The first thing, trust the hesitation. Whatever version of hesitation exists in you around this person, however small, however easy it has been to explain away, however much genuine feeling has been working to override it, trust it, not as a final verdict, as information, as the signal of a nervous system that is doing its job and deserves to be taken seriously rather than managed into silence. The second thing, before any significant step forward with this person, ask a direct question about the thing you have been sensing. Not an aggressive question, not an accusatory question, a direct one. A simple, clear, this is something I need to understand before we go further question that leaves no comfortable room for the kind of technically true non answer that practiced concealers tend to offer. Watch the response, not just the content of it, the quality of it, whether it has the specific texture of someone being honest or the different specific texture of someone managing what you receive. Your perception is extraordinary. Let it do its work. The third thing, know your non negotiables. Not in the abstract sense of a values list, in the specific, concrete, this is what I require in order to be safe and respected and genuinely seen sense. The things that are not available for compromise, regardless of how much feeling is involved, regardless of how much you want a particular outcome, regardless of how convincing someone is about their intention to be worthy of what they are asking for. Your safety is a non negotiable. Your right to make informed choices about your own body and your own heart is a non negotiable. Your access to the truth about the person you are considering being intimate with is a non negotiable. These are not harsh standards. They are the minimum that love requires, and anyone who cannot meet them, whatever else they offer, is not yet in a position to be given what they are asking for. As we close, I want to speak to something I have been feeling throughout this entire reading that goes deeper than the specific warning, and that I think is the true heart of why this reading arrived today. Your intuition is one of the most extraordinary instruments you possess. It is precise, it is fast, it is almost never wrong about the things that matter, and it has been trying to reach you about this situation for longer than today. The question this reading is really asking is not about them, it is about you, about whether you are going to be the kind of person who honors what they know, who trusts their own perception enough to act on it before the proof arrives, who values their own safety and well being and right to full information enough to require it, even when requiring it is uncomfortable, even when it risks something that has become precious. Even when the easier path is to simply not look too closely and hope for the best. Hoping for the best is not a strategy that serves Virgo. Seeing clearly is. You see clearly, you always have. The work is simply in trusting what you see. And I want to close with this. The right person for you will not require you to suppress your knowing in order to be with them, will not produce in you the specific low grade persistent discomfort of someone who senses that the picture they are being shown is not quite complete, will not pursue closeness with you while carrying something that changes the nature of what they are offering. The right person will bring you the full picture voluntarily, because they will understand that your trust is something to be honored rather than managed, that your perception is something to be respected rather than worked around, that the specific quality of who you are, the depth of you, the standards of you, the absolute commitment to truth and integrity that runs through everything you are, that is not a complication to navigate. That is exactly what they have been looking for. And they will show you that from the beginning, without being asked, without strategic omission, without the Seven of Swords moving quietly through everything they offer you. That person exists, and they are worth waiting for. Do not let someone else's concealment compromise what you are holding yourself for. Tell me in the comments what this reading opened in you today. Tell me if it named something you have been carrying without language for it. Tell me the one word for what you feel in your body right now. I read every single one. Until next time, Virgo, your knowing is not the problem. It has never been the problem. Trust it. Above everything else in this situation, trust it completely.